Hey everybody, just out here for a quick check today. We want to make sure that the queen here doesn't need any more space and see how well they're doing on building out comb. I'm not even going to try to find her today, but I do have a queen marking kit coming so that I can take a lot more effort to try to find her one day and go ahead and get her marked. So here's an example of some comb that they're building out. It's got some nectar in it, so it's doing pretty well, but then on the other side you can tell we're just barely getting started. So I'd like to see them building out comb faster, but I mean, you know, what are you gonna do? The entire bottom is full. Let's see, we got more on that side. We're doing pretty good over here. And this next frame's looking pretty nice. Getting a good start on that one. But that's it. So this is 2 weeks now since these bees have been in this box. And that's really the most amount of growth we've had from them is that amount. So that's it. That's all we're going to do with this hive. Making sure they don't need extra space, and we're going to move on. My main objective for this hive today is to replace the pollen trap. I want to get rid of the pollen trap and put a regular old bottom board on it. And if we happen to notice whether or not our queen has started laying eggs, then great. This is the box that had a lot of capped honey last week. We'll just take a peek from underneath. I still don't think we're going to go ahead and take any of that. Alright, so here we go. Here's the last box. I'll go ahead and bring my pollen trap forward a bit. Let it sit there. Let the bees work their way back up. Now you'll notice I'm not putting paper towels down on here for beetle traps. We have, from everything I've been able to see, eliminated beetles from this hive. That's not to say we won't come back later at the end of summer when beetles are going to want to start getting back into the hive, but I think we got what overwintered in this hive out of it, and so for right now I'm not worried about trying to trap beetles again. So that's what's going on there. So you see we're getting very little wax draw. This is what's bothering me about this hive. I just expect it to be more, you know. I expect there to be so much more wax, and there isn't. So I just had Jennifer go and Google what I couldn't remember, and we learned that it should be about 7 days after the hatching that the queen is fertile and starts laying. So basically today. Now what I'm doing is I'm not paying too close of attention. If I happen to see day-old eggs, then great, but I don't expect to, because things don't always go by the book. It could be tomorrow or the day after when she actually starts laying. Right now I'm really just more worried about seeing any extra swarm cells or anything like that, and making sure that with all this honey that they're putting away, that there is still room for the queen once she comes back to actually start laying the eggs. So we'll probably be pulling this box as a honey box next week, but it does still have a little bit of brood left on it from the queen we put in the split, the original queen. So that's got to finish up before we can harvest. A couple on this side as well. None of these are going to be far enough along to take them out today, so that's as far as I'm going to do, and we'll close up this box. Okay, so there we go. By the calendar, today should be when the queen starts to lay, but we're not seeing that yet. There is a small amount of space for her to lay and an awful lot of honey. So what I'm hoping to do is by the time we come back in here again, most of this box will be ready to be harvested for honey, and we'll be able to put empty frames back in for her to start laying. And between now and then, hopefully what is still open will give her the space she needs to start laying. So now the big question for this week really is to see whether or not these queens have emerged. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We'll just tip this forward and see how it looks. Let's see if we can get looks like we had this queen emerged. This is textbook. Look at this. That queen emerged, and there's a bee in there cleaning it out. And then if you can get an angle going like this down there, you can see this queen. It's not on the tip, it's from the side. That's because the queen that emerged killed it, and then they went in there and drugged the dead body out. So this is textbook. So this would have happened in the last 4 days. We'll come back here in another week and a half and see whether or not they've started laying. Well, that's how we're going to leave things here in the apiary today. I do want to thank our Patreons who support our channel every single month. And I want to also say that I realize so many of you, publicly and privately, have messaged me to give advice about things that we could try with bees. And I really do appreciate the information that you've sent to me, but I'm sure even from your own experience you understand that everybody seems to have a piece of advice when it comes to beekeeping. And it's not just beekeeping, it seems to be pretty general around the board, doesn't it? Well, I can only try something so many different ways, and I have to decide what's right for me, what feels right. I'm a very big believer in instinctive feelings and following your gut. And as much as the textbooks seem to let me down sometimes, and different methodologies seem to let me down, I just can't do every single suggestion that comes my way. So please, if I have seemed to put you off or even told you in a message that I wasn't going to take your advice, please understand that, and I hope that it's something that you can understand, because if you're a beekeeper, I'd like to think you've probably experienced it yourself, where you were given so many different types of advice from so many different places. So the best I can ask for is just wish us luck, and we'll do our best to keep these bees going and supply our family with honey, because at the end of the day, that's all we're really trying to do, supply for our own needs. And if we have enough left over to sell to friends and family, then hey, that'll be a bonus in the end. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.